Oh, for fuck's sake. I'll be right back. Okay. Jesus. Okay, all right, welcome to the show, everybody. That was a little bit more difficult than I expected it to be. For some reason, every time I tried to start that, I kept running into one thing after another. Anyway, welcome to the show. Today, thank you for joining me. I would like to talk to you about some upcoming products I have coming my way. We're going to be, or not my way, coming your way. I've got a couple of things I wanted to release. So first of all, I've got the Everything Talisman. This is all about this. If you notice the occult money sign here, this is for about. It's about occult money. Anyway, so I've got the Everything Talisman coming up. This is the okay, so this is the Everything Talisman. The Everything Talisman is like it's designed to be a talisman that is for you to have everything you need as a magician, right? It's just everything you could possibly ever need, right? On one side, it's got these. Let's see here. Yeah, that's the 5. Okay, so on the one side, it has the 7 pinnacles of the Key of Solomon, of the planetary pinnacles that are said to give you control over the spirits of the planets and the forces of the planets on the Earth. So, like in Venus, it says that the Nogahiel, Akelia, this one here, that I think there's Antoniel and. Yeah, it's definitely Nogahiel. So Nogahiel anyway, these are the spirits of Venus at the top up there. So anyway, these are the 5. Well, no, these are the 7 pinnacles of the spirits that let you command these 4 spirits on each of these talismans. I've been using them to charge and distribute the powers of the pinnacles on the opposite side of our pinnacles. I've been doing 2-sided pinnacles since about like 2010 or so. I do think I was the first person to start doing that. It has become common practice, but it is entirely my theory that that anybody does that. You won't find it before me. Not that I care, but I think it's cool that everybody else is doing it. But yeah, it's a theory. So anyway, I believe that these 4 spirits represent the 4 spirits of the planets that manifest things on the Earth. When you read through the Corpus Hermeticum, it talks about in the Divine Pymander that the spirit of nature created on the Earth 7 governors to mimic the 7 governors of the sky, right? So we've got like terrestrial planetary governors there. And if you look at these actual spirits, they talk about the Omaliel, I'm sorry, each of these spirits, the ends of their names, like there's 4 spirits on each of these talismans, and 2 of them end in EL and 2 of them end in AH for the most part. There's a couple exceptions, but AH is the passive form and the EL is the active form of these angelic names when you add suffixes to the root words in Hebrew. So like if you take the word for Jupiter is Tzedek and you add IEL to it, you have Tzedikiel or Tzadkiel or Sachiel, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Over time the name has changed, but you basically take a root name and add IEL for the active force of whatever the root is in the world, or IAH for the passive form of it. So if you look at here it is. Let me turn on my little Bolty. Where's my Bolty? Here he is. Okay. Okay. All right. So if you look at here, all right. So the Jupiter talisman here. This is the Jupiter talisman. It has the 4 names of the spirits that you can work with to invoke the powers of Jupiter on the Earth. And this particular one you see here has Zedekiah on there. So Zedekiah is specifically the IAH form that's been added to Tzedek. So you have the Jupiter IAH suffix for Zedekiah as one of the spirits, one of the 4 spirits of the Jupiter talisman. So anyway, that's the IAH versus IEL suffixes that you'll find on these angel names on these talismans. Now, my theory is that the IAH and the IEL spirits, you've got 2 of each on here, and if you go back to the Ophanim and the whole Jacob's ladder vision, the vision that Jacob had of the angels ascending and descending to the earth, the IEL angels are like the descending angels. They're delivering the will of God to the earth. They're active and moving those down to this planet. The IAH angels are the ones moving up the ladder, Jacob's ladder, up into heaven to take the prayers and the requests and the sufferings and the sorrows of this world up into the heavens where they can be transformed and returned to the earth. Also, IAH spirits, in my opinion, this is not something that you are going to hear from other people necessarily until they start saying what I say, because they do that. The IAH spirits are good for raising you up as well. So it's very good to lift you up to the higher sphere, so you can understand more about anything you're going through with initiations or your path working or anything like that you need to get some more information on. You can conjure these Sadikia or whatever else the IAH spirits are to be raised and see things from a higher perspective. So that's one side of the everything talisman. Basically, it gives you the power to control the planetary forces in the material world through the active and passive forces of the spirits that are represented on these seals. So that's all on one side, and then if you flip it over, yes. Okay, so on the other side, I've got these 5 pinnacles from the Key of Solomon. And they are, let's see if I can remember all these. We've got the 6th of Mars up here. This is the one that protects you from attacks from other people. It says Gladius Eorum, Inter in Corda, whatever. It's may the sword of their own making pierce their hearts, right? And their bows be broken, right? So that's what that versicle is around there. And this is the Mars talisman that returns people's attacks when they attack you. So it's basically a defense talisman. So I feel like that's something that I use quite a bit, and I figure every magician should probably have that in their repertoire. The next one, it says Gloria Divitii and Domo Eis. This is the I believe this is, let's see, Mars and then Jupiter. Yeah. Okay, so this is the second pinnacle of Jupiter. Yeah, it says the Jupiter right there on the top up there. So this is the second pinnacle of Jupiter. It is it provides a wealth and blessings to the person that's carrying it, but it's for prosperity and the blessings of Jupiter to come into your life. In the middle is the third pinnacle of the Sun, and that is for bestowing the recognition and honors and acclaim and wealth from all of your, hey Eduardo, how's it going? Hey, good to see you, man. But the third of the Sun is for presenting or getting you the recognition of people who are in power to actually give you wealth and honor and favor within their respective realms. And then down here we've got the Venus talisman. This is a second of Venus, which gives you power to influence all things of Venus in the world, and also to draw to you favor, honor, respect, and also wealth. It's basically a benefic. And then you've got the for Mercury, I was torn between putting up the opener, the path opener one. I like that one a lot, but this is the pinnacle of Mercury that is for the aleatory, which I think is a little bit more useful. The way opener is great for unblocking things, and I have one around here somewhere that I keep because they are so very useful. It's right here actually. This is one I made by hand back before I had a laser engraver. But yeah, so the way opener thing, I mean, it is super handy for sure. And if you're in traffic, it'll help you open up traffic for you. If you need to get past a block in your career, it'll open it up. It's virtually useful for virtually everything. So it's like the Hermetic version of Ganesha, right? It's a sort of unblocks things. Great talisman, but it's just not as cool as as the Alatori. Okay, so the one I actually put on here is, I believe it's a 6th of Mercury, but or fifth of Mercury, the last one, and it's for conjuring the spirits of the Alatori. They're the spirits of the air that help students and diplomats understand things and get information. And what they do, it turns out, is they listen to everything that vibrates between the earth and the realm of everything that's in the realm of the air. Hey, how's it going? Hey, nice to see you too. Okay, so yeah, it's the one that lets you communicate with all the spirits in the air, and they can bring you information about anything, which is why they're so useful to diplomats and students. And if you learn to work with them and hear their voices, it's a great way to get direct information from the spirits. But even if you don't know how to hear their voices, you find yourself just knowing things automatically when you work with them from this thing. So the links to the Everything Talisman are in the comments or in the description below, and that's $325 for that, and I think that's kind of reasonable. You're getting like 12 talismans for the low cost of, but they are not like, they're very tiny. Let me show you what they look like in real life. So the discs I'm engraving them on are 1.25 inches, and we're fitting 12 talismans on on a disc this size. Whoa! And there it is. Actually, I don't know if you can see it because of the whatever, but I have better graphics here. But as you can see, they're only 1.25 inches wide. They're not, and for $300, you're thinking, oh my God, that's very small. But whatever, I don't really care what you think about that. It's not for everything. It's not for everyone, right? So I don't expect this to be something that you buy. Like I don't expect a lot of people to buy it, and that's cool. But this is what they look like when they're engraved. This is, you can see the 5-sided one, and they're very tiny. You're not going to be able to read the writing without like a magnifying glass or something. Some of them are even blurred together to where you can't read the letters, right? It's very it's difficult to make these. It turns out. You can see on the Jupiter one here down below with you can see that the outside edge there didn't quite engrave all the way. I ended up having to re-engrave that one. Actually, I think that one I ended up throwing away because I couldn't get it to take, because they are very complicated to make, and at the end of it, you have to consecrate them in a lunar hour. And when I consecrate them, I conjured all 7 gods and the 7 archangels and the 28 spirits that are shown on the other side, which is this side, right? And did the consecration there. So these are, like I said, they're kind of hard to make. So it's not the prettiest talisman, all right? If it was the prettiest talisman, I would probably charge you $125 a piece for each of the talismans that are on it. But this is a functional talisman. This is a working man's talisman. This is the blue-collar talisman, the blue-collar magician's talisman. I carry it around everywhere I go, and since I've started using it everywhere I go, it is very effective. I mean, it's incredibly effective, and I'm going to be coming out with a whole book about these 28 spirits because they're badass, and they're a really great way to change the world and a very quick and easy way to do it. So, but anyway, I don't expect a lot of people to buy them. I don't really. It's not really for that. I do this stuff because I think it's really cool. I do want you to make them on paper instead, though. They're every bit as effective on paper. I think that the having them on silver is fun. I like them a lot, but they're just as effective on paper. But if you want to use them, make them yourself, do make them yourself. I think I've got all the information on consecrating out and about on the web, but I can put together a thing for that if people want to make them themselves. But this is the 5-sided, the one that has the 5 pinnacles on it looks like this, and the one that has the 7 pinnacles on it looks like that. And you can take screenshots, and by all means feel free to make your own. But yeah, so to actually make these, I had to engrave each of the seals. And I did this all in the lunar hour because the moon passes through all 7 planets and receives their rays in the course of a day. So in a lunar hour, I figured I could do all the engravings and whatnot. But before I did the engravings, I would conjure the spirit. I would ask them to bless the actual engraving. I've got a video somewhere of me doing all that, but I did not load it to my broadcast thing, but I'll show it sometime. But anyway, it's a lot of fun to make them. I enjoy it, but if people want to buy them, they are available. Link is in the comments. Let's see. The other thing I have going on. This is something that's more universal. All right, HEX 2025. So first of all, we probably won't be won't be hexing our exes. But I thought it was a cool way to put it. So Valentine's Day is coming up, right? And Valentine's Day is the time of love. It is a time of being together with people that you love and trying to get laid and all that stuff that we do when springtime comes upon us every year. It's mostly about having sex, but it's also about love and romance and pursuit of attaining sexual intercourse with the person of your desire, right? But a lot of people have problems, right? When we go out into relationships, we carry the baggage with us from the past, and the exes have a habit of influencing our current relationships long after we have left them behind. So what I have done is, in preparation for February's lovely February event of Valentine's Day, I put together a class that is based on stuff that I put together for my own purposes for getting over exes and getting my heart back together. It is entirely useful, in my opinion. But the goal of this is just to all right, so what you do is you break your ties, any ties that you have to your ex, right, that are in your heart. It's let me start from the very beginning. This X-Hex 2025 course, class, cohort, process, whatever you want to call it, will consist of 3 basic rituals, right? Which is a Saturn and Mars ritual, that's one ritual, a solar ritual, which is a second ritual, and a Venus ritual, which is their third ritual. The Saturn and Mars ritual is a combination of Saturn and Mars. We'll be doing it either on a Saturday and a Mars hour or on a Tuesday and a Saturn hour. I'm not sure exactly which way I want to go with that yet. But we're going to mix the energies or powers of the planets of Mars and Saturn to cut off any ties that we have left over to our past partners. And this isn't just our past partners. It's not just our exes. We pick up a lot of emotional baggage from our parents, from our brothers and sisters, from their friends at school when we're growing up, crushes, people that we never even knew that we existed, will haunt you into your 50s if you're not cutting that crap off. All right. I was in church when I was a kid, and a pastor says to everybody in the congregation, you know, you have a tie to every woman that you've ever had sex. Men, you have a connection to every woman you've ever had sex with. And when he said that, like, all these guys in the church go, you know, like, oh my God, you know. And it's like, it's hokey, and he was just doing it to be a jerk. But of course, when I say that, chances are you remember people you haven't thought about for years, you know, for years that you thought you were done with. Like, just hearing someone say, you still have a connection to people you've had sex with. Someone pops up. That really is a tie. That's a technique that this pastor said, but it shows something that is true spiritually. When you have someone pop up, when you're reminded of these connections to other people, you have a tie to them. You have something that you haven't dealt with. You haven't cut off yet. And that crap can haunt you. It echoes through your entire life, you know? And this isn't, just to be really clear, I use a lot of therapeutic language in my description of these rituals because I find them therapeutic, and I think that they help me with things that I understand from a psychological lens. But this isn't psychology, and this isn't therapy, and it doesn't take the place of psychology or therapy. It just, this is just language that I know everybody understands pretty much in 2025, and it helps me convey the concepts. But, yeah, this isn't therapy, and it doesn't take the place of a good therapist, so don't think that that's what it is. What this is a ritual way of cutting off ties to your past, using the HEXEN craft, the occult powers that we have, to uncross ourselves from any cross conditions we might be carrying. Oh, also, so the Mars part of this ritual is going to be an uncrossing rite that returns any negative energies that our exes might have sent our way back to them. Because when we break up with people, it's always very emotional, you know. And even when you start off on this, we're going to be friends and everything's going to be fine and amicable, you still go through a bitter phase. I think most people do. I did. I have in every relationship I've ever been leaving, that's for sure. But yeah, so I mean, you go through it, like there's like everything's kind of going to be okay, and then everything's terrible, or it goes right to everything's terrible, and curses are thrown. If you're an occultist, chances are you've dated another occultist, and I don't know any occultist who's ever broken up with anyone who hasn't secretly and mysteriously done some magic about it, and either to curse their ex, or to bind their ex, or to break off a connection from their ex, or whatever. Whatever, I don't care. I don't curse my exes. It is a curse enough to be without me, in my opinion. Also, they also usually have lived with me at my worst for years, and it's probably a curse enough too. So I don't worry about my exes being cursed, but I do think that it's important to break the bonds that we have to our past people. And if our past people were magicians, chances are they've done some magic to rid themselves of connections to ourselves as well. And if they were mad when they did it, chances are it's a curse. So uncrossing ourselves from our exes is something we'll be focusing on as well. In addition, we'll be reclaiming any of the things that we left behind with our exes that we did not intend to leave behind. I'm not talking about personal property. I'm talking about parts of your heart, parts of your trust, parts of your mind, your reputation. Okay, when you leave a relationship, if you've ever been a public person, when you leave a relationship, there's a consequence, right? And your reputation takes a hit, because whether you want to or not, people take sides, right? And even if everything is amicable, your shared friends group is going to choose one over the other, right? And it's almost always the woman. If you're a guy, it feels like it's almost always the woman that gets picked, because the guy is obviously the jerk, and we just move on, whatever. But yeah, so getting your relationship back in a friend group, that kind of thing is difficult and challenging, right? Especially if you've been wronged and you're not saying anything about it, or if they were wronged and they are saying stuff about it, it's complicated, right? But this reclaiming the benefit that you lost when your relationship ended, that you had when you went into it, is part of this, right? So because it's really easy to leave things behind when you're getting out of a situation that has gone bad, even if it was good to start with. And the Mars Rite will also help to protect you from repeating this as any unfinished business going forward. One of the reasons that all of our ghost hunting shows talk about unfinished business being the reason that we're haunted is because if you have unfinished business, it's haunting, and it will continue to haunt you, and you end up repeating the same mistakes with different people for the rest of your life until you cut that out. So that's what that part of the Mars and the Saturn rites are about. It's about ending any ties to your ex, and making sure you don't keep doing any of that, and also sending out spirits to reclaim the things that you left behind, that you never meant to leave behind, that you never wanted to lose before. Like I went into relationships as one person and I left as someone completely different, and I would like to have some parts of that back, right? So you do send spirits to go get it for you. Anyway, that's what we'll be doing for the for the Mars and Saturn rites. All right, so that's about dealing with the past and the person. At that point, we're done with our exes. And I called it X-Hex, but mostly it's because we're dealing with baggage from our exes. But that's really all we're going to be directing at our exes. It's cutting off ties, returning any energies they've sent at us that is negative, and reclaiming anything that we left behind, and making sure that there's a hedge of protection around us to cut that off completely so we don't keep repeating that cycle going forward. Then we move our attention to my favorite subject, myself, right? I'm sorry, ourselves. So we turn our attention to ourselves. And this is what the solar rite is about. And this is about revealing to you what got you into that bad relationship in the first place. What motivated you to do that? What was your urge to be a part of this situation that ended up being so whatever, the figuring out what's going on in you so you don't repeat it is sort of where it comes from. For me, a lot of it came out in therapy anyway, but I did this ritual, I want to say, anyway, probably about a year and a half after I had left a relationship, I did this ritual, and all of a sudden all this stuff came out in therapy about my mom and my things that happened when I was 12 and 14, and during the conditioning gateways in my life. At different stages, I picked up things and I imprinted things and I carried it with me, and I looked for that in my partners, and I drew that to me to deal with those things, and I dealt with them. Oh my God, I dealt with them, and I don't have to deal with those things ever again. So anyway, the sun is about transforming those things and transforming any pain that you have, any wounds that you might have received, any mistrust, or any betrayals, any kind of abuse that you might have gone through. I mean, I'm talking about all these relationships as if they were like between two normal, sane, healthy people, but nobody's in those relationships. But the sane, normal, healthy people, in theory, would be able to get through all this stuff without this stuff. But I've never met anybody like that. But if you were in an abusive relationship with someone who was verbally abusive, always cutting you down, stopping you from doing what you wanted to do, telling you couldn't do it, or even physically abusive, or mentally abusive, emotionally abusive, there's all kinds of abuse that people are masters of, and recovering from that is not just about cutting it off and not repeating it again. It's also about healing. You've got wounds. You're bleeding. Chances are you're still bleeding about stuff that you don't know about. And dealing with the internal hemorrhaging is what the solar rite is about. It cauterizes the wounds. The transforming powers of the sun come into play, and the sun is where you go to turn. All right, so the heat of the sun is beautiful, and it's a source of light and life and love and liberty, right? That's what the sun does. It produces life. So when you go to the sun to transform your hurt and your stuff to get healed, it takes it back to state, to original state. It melts it all, purifies it, and brings it all back together again, and gives it back to you. So like if you imagine that like your heart was made of gold when you got it, and you took it out in the world and you gave it to someone and they mixed it with something and they made it a little bit less pure gold, and by the time you get it back it's like 24 karat gold. It used to be pure, but now it's like 24 karat. You take it back to the sun melts it all down, purifies it, gives it back to you, and if there's anything missing, it gives you even more, right? Because you have to have a full heart, and when you leave the sun, your heart is restored. So there's a ritual to transform any of the abuse that you've received, not only to heal it, but to transform that energy and that those events in your life into something foundational that drives you forward and brings you the light, life, love, and liberty that the sun is supposed to bring you. Yeah, so health, healing, and a foundation to project your own light into the world again. This is also, we'll be doing a ritual to recover your reputation and your standing if it were impacted by your breakup. The recovery, earlier I was talking about the third pinnacle of the sun, right? It's all about restoring or providing you with a good reputation in the favor of a king. In this particular take on that, we will be doing a similar kind of thing to recover your reputation and your standing if it were impacted by revealing your inner light and the truth where falsehoods stand in your way. So it's a into the light I command you kind of thing, where any rumors or malicious darknesses have been spread about you, that shine some light on it and it goes away. So that's part of that too. And then that's the solar stuff. Oh, that's not all the solar stuff. Part of the things I've been learning about over the last year or so, and this goes back to one of the reasons I think Nicole is an awesome person. Nicole, my lovely wife, and I have been figuring out some stuff about transforming negative energy or malefica into cash, profit, and I think I'm ready to start sharing that with the world a little bit. So part of this ritual will be working on using the powers of the sun to transform the energies of any darknesses or malefica into cash. Because why not let your haters pay for your good time? That's my theory. So anyway, we'll be doing that as well. Then we're going to wrap it up with the Venus Rite. And the Venus Rite is very simple. Okay, and the very simple Venus Rite is we're going to conjure, receive, and integrate the wisdom of the sphere of Venus, right? And it's almost adorational. Okay, we're going to just conjure the spirits of Venus, and we're going to ask them to grant us the wisdom and power of the sphere of Venus to bring about a true, pure, and perfect for us love relationship, or at least prepare us for getting through life with whatever love I don't know, because like everybody doesn't want to be in love again, right? It's about creating for you an avenue towards finding someone who is right for you, if you're into that. But if you're not, I mean, you don't have to do the Venus part. Or you could just not do the course at all, whatever, I don't care. You can sit there and be miserable. But it's fine. So yeah, and then we're going to make the second pinnacle of Venus, which is, and it's just going to be a paper thing, you guys. You're just going to make it in a Venus hour on a Venus day with the proper consecrations. And I will be writing the scripts for all of these rituals. I will provide the scripts for you. You'll get a PDF that has the scripts for all 3 rituals. It's based on the Zeus Ho Kephale, Zeus Ho Meso, Zeus Ho Ponto Krator stuff that I've been doing. It's pretty useful, I must say. And oh yeah, I'm going to do some hypnosis videos so that you get to be hypnotized and walk through the rites. People really seem to like those, so I'm going to keep doing them till I get people telling me not to do them anymore, with compelling reasons. But yeah, I'm going to keep doing those. So you'll get 3 hypnosis videos. They usually last about 20 minutes. You sit there and you listen to them. It doesn't take the place of doing the ritual itself. I never want people to think that, but it does prepare you at the very least. And in my opinion, it comes pretty close to taking the place. But I'm not gonna ever say that. Schedule. And there's going to be one video class. Probably be 2 hours, at least 2 hours. Friday the 24th. So Friday the 24th, we're going to have the actual class, 2 hours where we talk about all the stuff. If you have any questions afterwards, we'll go over the questions. I will make sure that you're prepared to do these rituals, and then the schedule for the Saturn-Mars Rite is January 25th. That's on a see, I guess I did schedule it already. Let's see. So the 25th, oh, it's a Saturday. Okay, so I did go with Mars and a Saturn day. Okay, so the 25th is a Saturday. We'll do the Saturn and Mars right then to cut ties to our past. And the 26th is a Sunday. Okay, I see what I did. That makes total sense. Okay, so the 26th is a Sunday, and we'll do the solar rite then, and then the following Friday is the Venus rite. So the January 24th through the 31st, that is that's the basic schedule. I will set up a Facebook group if people want to do Facebook group stuff. I also have a forum plugin on my website that I could just use my website for this. It would be a lot easier if I just used my website. And since people are starting to go away from Facebook, maybe we'll start doing that in the future. But I think for this one, at least, I'm going to go ahead and make a Facebook group where we can communicate about this stuff. But yeah, just because I've already planned on it. So that's what this is about. It's only $75. In my opinion, I think that's a fair deal because you're getting 3 rituals, and I charge about $25 a piece for these things. The value add, I think, for this is in the actual PDF. There's going to be some text around all that stuff. So I've given you the basic outline of what the text is going to be for this class, and the talismans that we'll be working with are all on the Everything Talisman, and the rituals are basically the only thing you're going to be getting out of this. So whether you buy my courses or not, I really hope that people are doing this magic on their own, or the metric equivalent. Okay, like whatever in your practice is what you do to heal from your past stuff you've brought up. I hope you do that when you come out of a relationship. I'm hoping that you're doing all this. This is how I do it because I've studied all this occult stuff that I've studied. Your occult studies have hopefully prepared you to do this in your own way. And as a magician, you should be doing this stuff. You should be clearing up your messes. You should be cleaning up things and making things better for yourself so that you're more pleasant to be around, so you can have things that are good and you can enjoy this experience on Earth. Okay, things are circling the drain. We're living in the end times, in my opinion, right? big deal. It's still friggin' beautiful. Okay? The end is just for the human people. Something else will come along, you know, or we'll get our crap together. It doesn't matter. Life will go on after we are gone. It does not matter. We're just here to experience this. And it's beautiful. It's so many moments of beauty. You know, even the LA fires, terrible what's going on. I don't want to downplay the tragedy of what is going on in the personal lives of my friends who've had their crap devastated. You know, it's devastating. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Orange lights. You see the sunrise, the sun. You can see the sunspots on the sun in these photographs that people are taking of this big red orb over LA because the smoke is filtering it enough to where you can see the sun. It's amazing what we're living through right now, you know? Yeah, it sucks that all these people have to suffer for us to have these moments. But in every tragedy, you know, you can't lose sight of the beauty. You can't lose sight of the beauty. You can't, you know? And that's what these rituals are for. That's why I'm offering these classes. You know, why do I want people to be prosperous in 2025? Because I want people to have a good time. And it's easier with money, you know? HEX 2025. This is about recovering yourself. This isn't about your ex. I mean, it is, but only insofar as you haven't let go of it and you need to get over your crap and move on and prepare yourself. This puts you in the driver's seat. The magical circle is in the center of the magical circle in the key of Solomon. I'm sorry, in the Lemegeton, in the lesser key of Solomon. And in the center of it has Magister, right? Magister, the magician, stands in the center, right? And then around him are all the spirits of the universe, right? The 7 planets, the 4 kings, the 12, the 10 spheres, you know, the names of God, all the way up through the Kabbalah or whatever cosmology you're into. It's all right there, and you're in the center of it. These rituals put you in charge of your life. It puts you in the driver's seat. You're the captain now. You know? You're the one that's going to break the bonds to the past. You're the one that's going to uncross yourself, reclaim what was lost, restore your heart, and conjure a better lover. You're the one that's driving your experiences here. We have a say. You know? We are made in the image of God. We are the Logos incarnate. You know? I mean, depending on how you look at things. We have a say in how it goes. Anyway, that's what this is all about. Let's see what's going on here. Let me check the comments here real quick. I have been blah, blah, blahing. I do that. Let's see. Jen, it unblocks things, those shapes, frequency, any copper talisman. I don't understand, Cherry Pit. I don't understand some of the context. I missed the context for those comments, Jen. I'm sorry. I don't understand what you're saying. Any copper talisman? I don't have any copper talismans, if that's what you're asking about, for the everything talisman. They are all in silver, but I do have copper talismans for the Venus. Oh, were you asking? You're probably asking about the Venus talisman. That makes sense. Yeah, the Venus talisman can be done in copper. We can make those for sure if you want, but also paper is the easiest way to go for people. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Keep going. It says end of what? I don't know. Oh, end of the world. Right. End of the world. Oh yeah. End of society. End of the culture. Right. I mean, end of this phase of it. End of this temporary manifestation thereof. Anyway, that's what I got going on, and I wanted to present that to the world and make my sales pitch, as it were. All right, thanks a lot for joining me. I will talk to you guys on Sunday. If you're in my classes and you're like in the prosperous thing, the prosperous life class, we have our final Zoom meeting is the 11th. That's tomorrow at, I believe it's 4 p.m. I will have to, let me double check. Gosh darn it. Yes, 4 to 5 p.m. tomorrow we will be having our final lessons learned meeting, and that's something I will be incorporating into as many of these rituals going forward as I can. Maybe not the X-Hex, because I mean, for one thing, it's only $75, and it's just sort of a, in my opinion, these are like the closure rituals that you do in life. They're cut and dried and self-contained. So anyway, it's I will if there's a need for a lessons learned, we can certainly do one. But yeah. But anyway, I will talk to you later. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see everybody in the class tomorrow, and then everybody else on Sunday if you stop in.